The story begins with a hurricane, floods, and sharks that swim through the water in the city, preying on people. We first meet a girl named Dakota. She's at home talking on the phone when she receives news about the impending major hurricane. Upon hearing the news, all the city's residents begin closing their stores and shops. People are grabbing their essential belongings and evacuating. However, when Dakota leaves her building, she remains completely calm. At this point, a neighbor tells her to evacuate the house quickly, but she doesn't want to leave because the house is more than just a building to her. It holds memories of her mother. Her mother has passed away, and it's in this house that she feels closest to her. That's why she doesn't want to leave, no matter what happens, even if it means facing death there. The scene then shifts, and we meet Dee. She is a girl spending time by a lake with her two brothers. The older brother is named Ron, and the younger one is Will. The three of them are enjoying themselves when their stepfather, William, arrives. His behavior suggests he is not a good person. He has adopted the three children, but there's no love in their relationship. He's always angry, scolds them for everything, and never treats them well. Why this is the case will be revealed later in the story. After this, we are introduced to the movie's third character, Lisa. She is a pregnant girl driving home. She is talking to her mother, who is very worried about her. Not only is Lisa pregnant and due any day, but her husband has also left her and she has just learned about the approaching hurricane. Due to the storm, the bridge ahead is closed and she starts to panic about how she will get home. On the way, she sees people fleeing with their belongings. This makes her even more nervous, but she tries to calm herself down, thinking it will be a minor storm that will pass. However, this thought turns out to be her biggest mistake. Now we meet Edward. He is a marine biologist who tracks ocean movements. He had already sensed that something big was about to happen, and when the office report came, it confirmed it. A massive hurricane was approaching. Such a huge oceanic storm could cause floods even in the cities. Hyoon panicked and immediately called Dakota. He told her to leave the area. Dakota is his niece, and her mother is deceased. He tells her the hurricane is severe and that if it moves even slightly inland, the entire city will be submerged. But Dakota still refuses to budge. Seeing her stubbornness, Edward says, "Fine, have it your way and stay in your mother's house. If something happens there, I will come to get you. Remember that." The hurricane begins to hit. This is no mere rain, it's fierce winds, a water storm, and then the worst happens. The dam breaks. As the dam collapses, all the ocean water rushes towards the city. The streets are flooded, cars are swept away, and water enters homes, destroying everything in an instant. Lisa is on the road. A truck driver stops her because a large tree has fallen, making it impossible to proceed. The truck driver tells her to turn back, but the water is rapidly approaching them. Lisa decides she will try to drive over the tree. She speeds up and her car crashes into the tree, getting stuck. The truck driver, who wanted to get away from the rising water, cannot escape either, and both are caught in the current. Lisa's car begins to float, crashes into a tree, and Lisa is trapped. She can't get out or stay inside for long. But the real problem is just beginning. The truck that crashed her was actually carrying meat. All the meat spills out into the water, spreading blood everywhere. The strong smell of blood attracts sharks. Just following this scent, the sharks arrive. Meanwhile, William is at home with his wife, drinking in the basement. They are both relaxed, believing their house is waterproof, so they feel no fear. On the other side, many reporters are gathered outside Edward's office, wanting to interview him and get an update. Edward says nothing can be confirmed yet. However, the reporters are exaggerating the news on TV, reporting that the Oita hurricane is severe and will worsen, and that there will be sharks in the storm. They don't realize that the false news they are spreading might actually come true. The water is now everywhere. Dakota's house windows break and water starts pouring in. William's house also floods shortly after. Seeing all this, Ron understands the seriousness of the situation and tells William that there are life jackets in the car, which might be useful if needed. Two men head out in a boat to rescue people. They hear Lisa's screams. One man rushes to Lisa and says, "I'll get you out, don't worry." Lisa tells them she is pregnant. The young man reassures her. He tells his friend to go get a cutting machine. As soon as his friend leaves, there's a strange disturbance in the water, and suddenly someone is pulled underwater. The man doesn't understand what happened. A little later, when he surfaces, his arm is severed. He immediately runs towards his friend, but from behind, a shark grabs him again and drags him away. Dakota watches all this from her window. She screams to everyone that there's a shark. Lisa is terrified by this news, and then the truck driver regains consciousness. He breaks the door and gets out, only to be eaten by a shark. Everything is happening so fast, it's hard to comprehend. Edward receives a report that the dam has broken and the city is flooded. This means Dakota is also in danger. He has no other way to save her. So he makes a deal with the reporters who have been wanting to interview him. He tells them to drop him off near Dakota's house and he will give them a report there. The reporters agree and they set off. Meanwhile, William and his wife decide to grab life jackets and go outside. But as soon as they step out, a baby shark attacks William and then its mother attacks his wife. Both perish, leaving the children alone again. Inside the house, Ron, Dee, and Will are trapped. Water is everywhere and sharks are swimming in it. Dee tries to close the door, but an axe hits it, pushing it open. Dee panics, unable to control herself, but Ron calms her down. They sit and think about what to do next. Ron's plan is to throw meat into the water to distract the sharks, giving them a chance to reach the car and escape. However, they don't have meat at home. Dee remembers that William and his wife kept all the meat in the basement fridge. They could go to the basement, but the problem is there's already a shark swimming in their house, and if it senses them, it will attack. Dakota's situation at home has also become dire. A large tree has fallen on her house and it's now collapsing. At this point, Lisa is also very distressed outside, screaming for help. Dakota, whose house is right across from Lisa's car, can hear her but doesn't want to go out. Then Lisa pleads, "Please help me. I'm pregnant and I want to bring this baby into the world." Hearing this, Dakota softens. She also doesn't have a mother. If she doesn't help Lisa, this child might not have a mother. So, she takes a knife from her house and goes to help Lisa, despite knowing there are sharks in the water, which she has seen herself. Climbing onto Lisa's car, she cuts away the pieces of wood that have pierced through and are dangerously close to Lisa's stomach. Finally, she manages to save Lisa and brings her home. Once inside, Lisa tells her, "We can't just sit here. No one will come to save us like this. We need to make a signal for help." So, Dakota takes the house curtains to the roof and writes a large help sign with them, hoping a helicopter will see it and rescue them. At this point, Lisa's pain intensifies. Dakota checks on her. The baby is about to be born. They cannot deliver the baby here. They need to get out. Meanwhile, Edward has reached the city border with the reporters. Water is everywhere, and driving further is impossible. However, there is still a long distance to cover. They decide to take a small boat and proceed. On the other side, Ron's house is shown. He starts to execute his plan to go to the basement for meat. Suddenly, William appears. It turns out he was alive. The shark hadn't killed him, but left him injured. He tells Ron to go get him help. Ron explains that there's water and sharks outside and nothing can be done. During this, Ron searches for things to help William and his hand falls on a letter. It clearly states that the US government has been giving $500 monthly for these children to ensure their proper care. But they weren't even providing them with good food. William had kept the children for the money. Fearing that Ron might expose this truth, William tries to kill him. But Ron has also become brave. He grabs William's hand and kicks William hard, sending him straight into the water, where he becomes shark bait again. As the sharks are distracted, Ron brings meat from the basement and a box containing dynamite. They tie the meat to the dynamite, throw it into the water, and the sharks, attracted by the smell, eat it. The dynamite then activates, causing a huge explosion that kills the sharks. Finally, after the sharks are dead, they can freely leave their house and drive away. Meanwhile, Lisa tells Dakota that there's a boat outside, the same boat the man who tried to rescue her had. If they can reach that boat, escaping will be easier. But Lisa doesn't have the strength to even go outside because of the intense pain. Lisa decides she will go herself and bring the Iestas boat to the house gate. She takes a flashlight and packs all the meat from the fridge into a shopper. She knows there are sharks outside and she can use the meat to distract them. Her plan is working. As she comes out and a shark appears, she throws a spanakilas piece of meat in the opposite direction, attracting the shark away. In this way, she reaches the boat, but another problem arises. The meat runs out and the same large shark appears before her. Dakota remains calm, doesn't panic, and seeing her composure, the shark leaves. On the boat, she finds a fishing rod which she also takes. She wants to return home quickly, knowing the water in the house must be rising rapidly. And it was. Lisa is now floating in the water, clinging to a piece of furniture. The entire house is breaking apart and being swept away. Clinging to a piece of wood, Lisa places her newborn baby on a piece of wood and holds a sharp stick, waiting for the sharks. As a shark approaches, Lisa stabs its eye, injuring it, causing it to flee in fear. But Dakota sees from a distance that another shark is heading towards Lisa. She aims the fishing rod and shoots, killing that shark. Then she quickly reaches Lisa with the small boat. Just as Lisa is about to get into the boat, a large shark appears and capsizes it, putting everything in jeopardy. But before they can meet their demise, at that very moment, Edward arrives with his team. He has a device that he uses to drive the sharks away. He then places the device in the water and all the surrounding sharks move away. A shark that was confusedly heading towards Lisa and Dakota is stopped by another shark, which leads it in a different direction. Edward quickly puts Lisa and Dakota into the small boat and moves forward with them. Finally, both are safe, and so is Lisa's baby, who is perfectly healthy. As soon as they escape this ordeal, Lisa immediately calls her mother and shows her the baby. Tears are in everyone's eyes, and their hearts are filled with peace. The entire city is submerged in water, and only a few survivors remain, including Dakota, Lisa, Ron, Dee, and Will. These survivors are those who did not lose hope and continued to fight for themselves. And then, with a display of these survivors, the movie ends.